Hey everybody, Derek Christensen here. Today I wanted to talk to you about the steps that is required to make an estate plan. But before I dive into that, I wanted to let you know how to reach out to me. You can email me directly, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at legionlawpllc.com, or you can find me at my website, www.legionlawpllc.com. So with that, let's dive right in. Now, I personally believe there are 5 steps to setting up an estate plan. The first is getting everything set up. Having a meeting kind of before the consultation of just being able to ask, am I a good fit? Do you want to meet? What time to meet? All that good stuff. So really it's just the logistical stuff. But the second step would be probably one of the more important steps of a consultation. A consultation can be paid, it can be free. Sometimes attorneys do it differently. I personally do free consultations because I don't want to pressure you. But at the end of the day, during this consultation, you really should be getting a lot of information. You should be receiving information and giving information that's very, very important. More specifically, you really want to figure out what kind of assets do you have, what kind of debts do you have, what does your family situation look like, and what are your main objectives. If you don't have an attorney ask you those questions, the attorney might be missing some important information because all of those pieces of information add to what is important for you and what red flags or yellow flags are popping up that you should address through an estate plan. For instance, I had a client where I asked her about her family situation and she said she has literally nobody in her entire family tree. And that was mind-boggling to me because there are no great-grandparents, no nieces, nephews, nothing. And so I had the pleasure, I guess, to tell her there's a very strong possibility that if no one can claim your estate and you don't have an estate plan in place, the state of Texas might just take all your stuff. And that just blew her mind. So again, that's the whole point of the consultation, is to be able to pick out where important and big red flags are popping up and be able to address those red flags in correlation with what you're trying to accomplish through your estate plan. The third step out of the 5 would be to start drafting. Now, other attorneys do it differently. I do it my way. Some people do it others ways, but I give unlimited drafts. You can change them as much as you want, and you can make them as flexible as you want. Depends on what the documents are. And oftentimes you'll be filling out a questionnaire. You will, get that information back to your attorney, and that information will be reflected in the documents. But the drafting is very important because you want to make sure the documents match up with the questionnaire. We make mistakes, you guys make mistakes, everyone makes mistakes. So we got to make sure multiple eyes are checking this to make sure everything is done correctly. The 4th step would be signatures and signing. And you would think that'd be actually pretty straightforward, but in Texas and at pretty much every state, estate planning is not just your normal gym membership you're signing up for. You have to make sure it's dated. You have to make sure you handwrite names in the appropriate places. If you don't have those, the entire document can be absolutely found not good, invalid. You want to make sure there's notarizations done correctly. If there is a worry that you don't have testamentary capacity, you don't know what you're signing because you have Alzheimer's or something like that, you want to make sure the signing ceremony is videotaped and you interview the person beforehand. I mean, there are many different aspects of the signing ceremony to make sure it's done right the first time, because we definitely don't need to come back to it. So it may take a good while, but that's the 4th important step to make sure you've done it correctly. And the 5th one, number 5, would be to follow up, to make sure that everything is done correctly. Now, this is very important for trusts. It's not as important for wills. A will is kind of, you sign it, you're done, it's in effect immediately, but you still will want to check in every 3 years or so, make sure the will is up to date, make sure it's still what you want, make sure the people who are in charge are still, you're okay with them being in charge. And you want to make sure that things are done correctly. When it comes to a trust, the follow-up is almost immediate. You want to make sure that the house or the primary residence is transferred into the trust. You want to make sure beneficiary designations on retirement accounts and bank accounts and whatever else is out there correctly addresses the trusts, whether it's directly to the trust or whether the trust is the tertiary beneficiary. I mean, there are different strategies, of course, but that follow-up's imperative if you have a trust. And you also want to, even if you have a will or if you have a trust or both, you'll want to look at your beneficiary designations on all of your assets. That includes your bank accounts, checking and savings, your 529s, your college savings, your HSA accounts. I mean, literally everything needs to have the beneficiary designations correctly done, because otherwise the beneficiary designations may not reflect what is actually in your will or in your trust. And if there's that disconnect, the beneficiary designation is going to win every single time. So again, that follow-up, it's the boring part. It's not as sexy or as interesting as signing a will, even if that's sexy in the first place. But you need to do it. You need to absolutely do it, because I can't tell you how many times somebody absolutely gets the short end of the stick because the beneficiary designation was done incorrectly. So with that, that's kind of the 5-step process. You have the logistical part, setting it up, making sure you're a good fit, having the consultation and signing up as a client. Then you have drafting, you have signing, and you have following up. So with that, those are the 5 steps that I take my clients through to set up their estate plan. Most of it's done electronically by default, unless you want it otherwise. It's over the phone, it's over emails, and you don't have to come into the office and physically meet except just once, and that's signing. You must do it in person for some dumb reason in Texas. So with that, I just want to let you guys know about all the information. That is the general way how it works. If you need anything else, if you'd like to learn more information, or if you want to change those steps up to cater to your style of how you do things, then feel free to let me know. Email me directly, Derek, D-E-R-E-K, at legionlawpllc.com, or you can find me on my website, or you can go to our Contact Us page, schedule a consultation for free over the phone directly onto my calendar at www.legionlawpllc.com. So with that, have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.